This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is Reverend Samuel Means coming to you with Tree Wars for Christ. And I want to remind you of the mission statement at Tree Wars for Christ. It comes out of Matthew 12:33. To either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt, for a tree is known by its fruit. And that's our mission, to help those who are struggling with their lives today, or those who are with family members and wanting to have them be the best that they could be, to make the tree good, the tree that God has created, the tree that God has endowed, that we can either be good in the things that we do or evil. So we're striving to help those who are on the fence or in those gray areas to come to the side where they're producing a good fruit. And so today we're in the second installment of a presentation that I did at the International Ministers and Lay Association meeting back a couple of weeks ago. And in doing that, what my mission is to merge the gospel of Jesus Christ with mental health discipline to show how the two are connected and interconnected so that we can live a prosperous life. So let us continue on with the sharing of prioritizing our mental illness. Let's first do a summary. The first is an interesting thought. What is mental health? Mental health, as defined by the World Health Organization. Mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realizing their abilities, learn and work well, and contribute to their community. This was part of our discussion last week, and I hope you took some time to ask about mental health in general, but specifically about your mental health. The second thing we did was to talk about, again, visualizing the Michelangelo painting of God pointing down from heaven and man, or Adam, reaching up, and man became a living soul. That is the house that was being given to us by God. And the foundation of that house are three things. That is having a sense of safety. That is having genuine validation. Many people can say nice things to you or things that appear to be nice, but sometimes they're sarcastic or sometimes there's just some innuendo in it. But we want to be able to have genuine validation. Genuine validation helps to build our self-esteem and self-worth, that we then go forward, and with each step that we take, each experience that we have, we grow in self-esteem and self-worth. And the third part of our foundation is being connected, connected to one another, connected to family, connected to community, connected to new people as we grow in our experiences and become a new and different person. But then, what are the keys to the foundation and maintaining a strong foundation? This was also explored, and the keys to it, first key is our mind, our thoughts, our feelings, emotions, and our logic. The second key that we discussed is our spirituality, and that is the connecting to the divine, connecting to nature, and connecting with one another. The third thing that was shared was the physical aspect, or our physiology, the nervous system, our organs, the way our bodies operate. This is something very key as we move on in this presentation, because our physiology plays a major role in how we conduct ourselves, how we feel, how we act, and how we interact with one another and become either successful or have challenges in our life. The next is social. The social settings that we are in, the family that we're in, the community that we are in or associated with, those who are with us in our jobs and the sporting things that we have, the different activities and the social circle that we are in, and then the friends, the people who are the closest to us, those who outside of our families, our brothers, our sisters, our parents, aunts and uncles, are the support system that we build up over the years. And as we build them up over the years, we then grow stronger in our connection with one another. But also, there are some people who we call friends, for example, on Facebook. People can like the things that you post, People can be interested in what you're saying and doing, and we consider them friends. But if you go back in your mind to being a child, and for some of us, the baby boomers or the Gen Zs or Gen Xers, when you developed a relationship and called someone friend, was it something special or was it just from an acknowledgement that they had made for you? And then stewardship. Stewardship is the management of our time, our talent, our treasure, and our trash. The trash are the things that we have sometimes sitting at home, gathering dust, or molting or disintegrating when someone else could use it, someone else could benefit from it. That is why there are so many opportunities to share with those who are in need. And sometimes, if you're not donating it to someone, maybe you can use some extra money and give it away or sell it. But if you sell it and sell it at a discount, then someone might be able to see that and it becomes a treasure to them. My father often said, for some people, some people's treasure is other people's trash. The things that we perceive and we value, we are the ones who determine its value and how it is placed in our lives. And so, again, the keys to operating the how to the operating system of the house, our mind, our spiritual aspect, our physical self, the social and stewardship are all part of the keys that help us to become healthy, help us to keep our mental health, our physical health, our moral health intact and moving forward. And so, as I was developing this presentation, a story came to mind. And so, the story is told about a man who had a house, or a person. You and I have a house. And he goes into the house and he walks through the house, and the house seems pristine and in good order. But over a period of time, when you first meet someone or you first go into a place, you just see the beauty of it. You don't see the fine details of it. But after a period of time, you may see a crack that is in the wall. And sometimes the crack doesn't really bother you when you first see the crack. But after a period of time and seeing it over and over again, that crack starts to bother you. It becomes an eyesore. It becomes a factor that takes away from the value of the home. So after seeing the crack, what do you do as a homeowner? You go and you hire a contractor to fix the crack. The contractor comes in, he assesses the damage of the crack, he puts some spackle on it, he smooths it out, paints over it to blend the new paint in with the paint that's on the wall, and it looks great. It looks as though nothing had ever been wrong and there's no problem, no crack in the wall. And then you continue on with your life because you're now satisfied. Everything looked good. Everything seems to function well. But then what happens is I see the crack again and it has gotten worse. The reason why it had gotten worse is because with wear and tear in the house, and sometimes we don't notice the things that are going on. But what happens is I see the crack, it has gotten worse. I remember that I had a contractor come to fix the crack. I call the contractor back and say, not only is the crack back and showing again, but it has gotten worse. He comes back and he fixes it again and spackles, paints it. But after a period of time, the crack comes back again. And each time the crack comes back, it gets worse and worse. I call the contractor back again. I'm complaining and I'm furious that this keeps happening to my house and this damage keeps coming back and he's not able to fix it. The contractor listens. The contractor probably may even nod his head. But then after my fuming, after my temperament has calmed down some, the contractor gives me some advice. And the contractor says, the problem with the crack is not here in the wall. The problem with the crack coming back is not because of my workmanship. The problem comes back because there's a crack in your foundation. There's a fracture or something in your foundation and the house has settled and the crack, the fissure come in and it gets worse if the foundation is not attended to. Relating this back to what I was saying, the foundation of this earthen vessel is a sense of safety. It is genuine validation, and it is also your connectedness. If we take a step back and look at things, we may be able to find it. And that's where I have to come to a place of accepting the responsibility for the cracks in the wall, because I need to look at my foundation. I need to assess where in my life do I have lost my sense of safety? Where in my life have I lost that sense of genuine validation? Where in my life have I lost the connectedness which helps my house to function? The house part of the keys to my house, the mental part, the spiritual part, the physical part, the social part, the stewardship part. These are all the keys to me operating my house. Where have they become misaligned? Where have I lost my sense of safety? Am I a nervous person? Am I easily agitated? Am I easily frustrated? Where's a genuine validation in my conversations with other people? Do other people help me to feel that I am a person and I'm a person of value? Or all some of the things that are said and done to me causing my self-esteem and self-worth to take a nosedive and me not feel good about myself? Is there a connectedness? Am I still in good connection with the people who are in my social sphere? Am I in good connection with those who would love and care for me? And so a footnote here, a strong foundation is supported by my sense of safety, your sense of safety. And some of us may not feel that we are skittish. Some of us may not feel that I'm safe and I'm thinking that I'm good. But in actuality, there are things going on that are underneath the surface that are beyond our perception right now, because we have been living the same way time and time again. I have a saying that I share with nearly all of my clients. And the saying is, no matter where you go, you take you with you. That is your consistent pattern of behavior. That is the consistency that you have that you are not always aware of, because you are you. That is your normal. But when you're interacting with other people, that normal can become very, very disruptive to you and to them. And so let's examine how the cracks can come into our walls. The first is, what creates the cracks? What creates the cracks are the development of dysfunctional behaviors. Dysfunctional behaviors are the things that we do that cause disruptions in our life, disruptions in our relationships, and also disruptions in the person that we are and their interactions that we have. But first, when we're doing well and we're built on a solid foundation, these are being done by the statements that we hear from other people. This is what creates what I will call a default state of mind. A default state of mind is what you fall back on that has been a permanent in the development of your life and the things that you have heard. So positive statements, these are words that validate you. Again, for the foundation, again, a sense of safety, found genuine validation, and connection. Positive statements such as, oh, you're so smart. I believe in you. I love you. These are all words that validate you as a person. And if we consider this, think about it. If someone is telling you, hey, you're smart, that helps to give genuine validation to the person that you are. The having a connection with people who are supportive of you, but also it gives a sense of safety, that you can feel safe that a person is going to share something with you and share something about you that's going to build up your self-esteem, build up your self-worth. You want to hear words for them because those words are validating. They're increasing your self-esteem and your self-worth. But one of the other things that can help in this area is that you can validate a person while still giving correction. Validate a person by, how can you validate a person? By giving them correction. It is not always what you say, but how you say it. Sam, you made a mistake, or, it's not working out quite well. Let's take a look at what you're doing and see how we can make a difference, have a different outcome in what you're doing. And so the words that are being shared, yes, they're validating you that you have given a good effort to it. It's validation that, yes, it reached this level. Let's see if we can take it to the next level. And so the words are still validating you. The words are helping you to build your self-esteem and self-worth by building onto your social skills. I'll say that again. The words that are positive statements can help you build on your social skills. And as a child, during child development, as a child learn to do different things and learn to do things on their own, they are building their social skills. And how you share in that building up, that reinforcement, that helping them to become resilient and self-reliant, you're helping to build them and validate them as a good person. You're helping them use what are called critical skills to help them to see the problem or see the situation, look at their options in the situation, maybe break it down into ABC order, or break it down into the values of 1, 2, 3, and then make your choice. What you're doing is you're instilling in them the confidence that they can do it, that they can make it, and that your voice and tone is one that is encouraging, one that smiling and sharing with them, maybe even sometimes a pat on the back or on their shoulder to say to them, you have this, you can do it. And now you have a basis on which to make decisions going into the future. Those are positive statements that even with correction can help someone do better the next time than they did this time. But that solid foundation and with positive statements is versus what starts to create the cracks that are in your wall. And the cracks that become our default statements that come from negative statements. The negative statements are used to devalue someone. Negative statements are used to disrespect or to ridicule or to chastise someone. And these statements sound like, oh, you're always getting into trouble. Can't you do anything right? You'll never be like your sibling. You'll never be like your brother. You'll never be like your sister. These are all statements that are piercing. If you ever want to have a stab in the heart, these are the type of statements that tear at a person's self-esteem. It tears at their self-worth. These statements can also be done by physical touching, where you grab them by arm. Why aren't you paying attention? Can't you get anything right? These may be types of things that happen to us in our childhood, and we pass them on to our children. They develop a default state of mind that is feeling of ridicule and being devalued. It's taking away that sense of safety. Who wants to talk to someone who is always berating them? Who wants to talk to someone who is always going to chastise them? Who wants to talk to anyone that talks down to them? And not just physically as a parent to a child, but talking down, demeaning and demoralizing them and making them feel less than the person that they believe that they are. And again, you're always getting into trouble. Can't you? do anything right, I want you to take a moment and think about that. Think about the time, if it was ever said to you. What did it do to you physically, your physiology? Did it make your stomach sink? Did you take your breath away? These are all things that put a person in that startle reflex of fight, flight, or freeze. And then an authority figure down to a subordinate, that type of conversation is always going to be demeaning and demoralizing. And are you going to fight your parents? There's some kids who do, but there's some who know that that type of behavior is only going to make it worse. Do you run? If you get caught, the same punishment. So what happens? You learn to just stand there and take it and feel the barrage that comes on you from these words that are demeaning and demoralizing. And the person saying it to you, perhaps words that were said to them, is meant to, maybe not meant to hurt or harm, but the outcome is to hurt or harm. And in trauma therapy, this is what is said: your visceral self, that those things become visceral in your body, that when you hear these words from someone else, if you hear the yelling and screaming from someone else, you will have a reaction to it, a physiological reaction to it. And also you're thinking that I am being demeaned and demoralized. And I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but I know that part of the sound that is coming, the intensity of what is being said, and the direction, it may not be directed to me exactly when I have grown older, but I can feel it as though I did when I was a child. These are where these negative default states of mind statements are things that can have you feel it and develop your dysfunctional behavior. The next one is a neutral statements. These are where a person uses words that are dismissive and the person will feel invisible. Words such as, I don't care, go do what you want. Don't bother me right now, I'm busy. Or I don't care what you want. You go do what you want to do. These are all dismissive statements that, again, this is from a child perspective and even sometimes from an adult. Because if these words had impacted you as a child, they can impact you as an adult. And as you have it impacted on you, it creates dysfunctional behaviors. These words, which let me take a moment and share this. All behavior is about attention. And for a child coming to an adult or to a parent or to an authority figure, and they get these dismissive words, the intent was to get attention. And the intent was probably positive attention that they were trying to get. But negative attention is better than no attention at all. That's why some kids will automatically, or some people will automatically go into what you may interpret as a negative approach to a conversation or a negative approach to getting into your presence. That's because in their default state of mind, they're only hearing words that are dismissive of them, and they want attention, and they're going to get the attention from you. You are the target of their attention. And again, negative attention is better than no attention at all. I want to share with you how this can be modeled in a different way. I'm going to use Genesis chapter 4, verses 6 and 7. And although this scripture is about God talking to Cain, and God is talking to Cain to give him some good advice, parental advice, authoritative advice, wisdom that can help him in his future. But when we have had different situations in our life, positive statements will help us, validate us, and we can give positive response. But negative statements, creating a negative default state of mind, either will devalue us or be dismissive of us. And so I want to use 3 examples here that I'm hoping can be examples of how you use your voice to share in your message with others, particularly children, but also those who are still childlike in heart because they're carrying some of the burdens from their childhood. So the first one, I'm going to read it from the New English Standard Version. And it says, "Then the Lord said to Cain, 'Why are you angry? And why is your expression downcast? Is it not true that if you do what is right, you will be fine? But if you don't do what is right, sin is crouching at the door. It desires to dominate you, but you must subdue it.'" I'm trying to share this using the first voice. Again, it is giving not so much chastisement, but trying to give a word of encouragement and give a word of encouragement so that I can learn from this situation. I can understand it. And you're giving me the tools to help me understand how I can change what I'm doing to do it differently. The next is from the Message Bible. Same scripture. God spoke to Cain. "Why this tantrum? Why the sulking? If you do well, won't you be accepted? And if you don't do well, sin is lying in wait for you, ready to pounce. If you are, it's out to get you. You've got to master it." This can be the negative statement that Cain is coming, but how it is said. Why this tantrum? Again, given an assessment. Why the sulking? If you do well, you'll be accepted. Sometimes the second part of that statement, you will do well if and be accepted. You can't get past the part, why this tantrum? Why the sulking? That can say that you are not the person that you should be. And with that statement, it may tell you that I am just so disruptive and I'm so angry that I am going to do what is there, even though I know the outcome would have me do worse. And then the third, "And the Lord said unto Cain," and this is from the King James Version, "Why art thou wrath, and why is that countenance fallen? If thou dost well, thou shalt not be accepted. And if thou dost well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over you." This is that dismissive statement. Again, you're trying to say, or what is being said, asking, why are you wroth? Why are you very angry? And why has your countenance, why has the person you are fallen? Do you really want to be able to connect to someone, or do you want to be able to give advice to someone who is not willing to hear it? Someone who has their mind made up, someone who is really moving forward on what they want to do. And in being caught in that, they are not going to be able to function. One of the keys to this comes at the very end. And it doesn't matter if it's the King James Version, the Message Bible version, or the New English Standard Version. And that is, and the King James Version, "And sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him." Or, "But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at the door. It desires to dominate you, but you must subdue it." If we do not help our children, if we do not help one another, again, going back, either make the tree good and its fruit good, or make the tree corrupt and the fruit corrupt, for a tree is known by its fruit. The words that we say can generate and sometimes open the door to other things coming in. That when someone gives positive words to validate you, that can help increase your self-esteem. It can help increase your self-worth. It can help increase your confidence. It can help increase your trustworthiness. It can help increase your loyalty. It can help increase the parts of you that's going to help you to grow and produce a good fruit. But the words that can be said that can also create the negative that is in us, the things that devalue us, the feelings of disgust, the feelings of being angry, the feeling of being resentful, the feelings of being frustrated. These are all things crouching at the door, waiting to get in. And we in the scripture here will call them sin. What I am sharing is those are the things that will become dysfunctional behaviors in your life. One of the definitions of sin that I heard years ago when I first joined Pennsylvania Avenue and was in church under Bishop Proctor, who was then pastor, said that sin, like an archer, if you point your arrow and shoot and it doesn't hit the bullseye, you miss the mark. That's what dysfunctional behavior. You will miss the mark of being able to function well. You will miss the mark of your mental wellness. You will miss the mark of having that sense of safety. You will miss the mark of having genuine validation. You will miss the mark of having the connection with people that will be able to give positive statements, even if those positive statements are meant for correction, because correction can help bring about unity. But if you're not being connected to someone that can correct you when you are wrong, that's going to lead to more dysfunctional behaviors. I'm sharing this today that I want you to think over this next week before we meet again. Are the statements that you're making, are they positive statements? Are they statements that validate the person who is standing in your presence? Are you making positive statements to yourself to continue to give you that sense of safety, to tell you that going to work is going to be dangerous, being around certain people are going to be dangerous? Or are you validating yourself that I have strength, that I have a comforter with me, that I am able to do this, that I am a person of value? Give yourself genuine validation that I am one fearfully and wonderfully made, that I am connected, that through in our church, the communion, the rites of communion, that we do this in remembrance of Christ. And in that remembrance, I know that I am validated. What are your statements versus statements, and you may say, that are negative, that devalue a person, that even devalue yourself? That some people might say that I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm ugly. These are valuations that didn't originate in you. They're the reflections that come from other people. What are the neutral statements that you're saying to yourself, or saying to, I don't know if I could do it, or I don't know if I should try? These are things, there's an old saying that nothing beats a blank like a try. Try it. Test and see if you have it. You have the gifts within you. Do something that you are able to do. And as you continue in them and continue in your competency, you will gain more confidence in doing it and want to communicate with others. The dysfunctional behaviors is what we're going to go over next week. But the dysfunctional behaviors can be considered the sins because, again, dysfunctional behaviors will keep us from hitting the mark and hitting the point where we are striving and that we are moving upward and onward and further along. But dysfunctional behaviors stop us in our tracks. These are the things we're going to investigate. These are the things that I'm offering for you to consider, that as you build and maintain your strong foundation of sense of safety, genuine validation, and connectedness, it will help us not develop the dysfunctional behaviors. Again, sin, dysfunctional behaviors are crouching at the door to change your perspective on how life is. This I'm sharing with you with the hope that it helps you to produce a good fruit in your season. This we pray and give thanks in Jesus' holy name. Amen. May the Lord bless and keep you in all of your ways.